What's up, guys? So, and actually, let me slide back here real quick. Tonight's lesson, or this weekend's lesson, is going to be actually on solving simple equations. We did it says describing functions, and that is just because I actually forgot to change the title on the notes. But the title of your video will be solving simple equations. So let's go ahead and let's get to this. There's going to be 3 examples. They actually should be fairly short, but they're going to be very important for what we're going to be doing in the near future. So let me get the board turned on here. Oh, I forgot to plug in my thing, so let me grab that real quick. Alright, there we go. Okay, so example number 1. Now, you guys have been taught how to do PEMDAS since you were in grade school. It was part of your, my board all of a sudden quit working again. Let's see. Let me try to turn it on and off. This sucks. Okay, well, this thing doesn't want to work. So, we're going to switch it up, and I'll just go to writing on the board. So, you guys have been taught PEMDAS since you were probably in junior high, maybe even middle school. And I'm hoping you guys remember, but PEMDAS is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And what that does is that describes the order in which you do simplification or evaluating of an equation. And in this case, I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then I'm also going to show you how we're going to do solving equations, okay? So for PEMDAS, if I had 2 times 2 plus 3, and I asked you to simplify this, using PEMDAS, which is parentheses, exponents, multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. You guys should remember, as a quick review, that if you have multiplying and dividing in the same equation, then you do whichever one comes first, and you read it left to right. And as far as adding or subtracting, it's the same thing. If you have adding and subtracting in the same equation, then you're going to do whichever comes first, reading left to right. So in this case, I would do the multiplication first, then I would do the addition. Okay, so if I did this, I would say 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3, and 4 plus 3 is 7. That's how I would simplify or evaluate this equation. For solving, I'm going to replace the 2 with an x, and I'm going to give it a value. For solving, you do it in the opposite order. So I would get rid of the plus 3 first, then I would get rid of the times 2 next. So now I would subtract 3 to both sides. I would get 2x equals 4. Then I would divide by 2, and I would get x equals 2. So whenever we are solving equations, you're going to do your PEMDAS backwards. The other thing we're going to look at here is whenever you're trying to get rid of an operation, you're going to do the opposite operation for the same number. Okay, so let's go over to our problem now. X minus 5 equals negative 7. I only have one operation here, and that operation is subtraction. I want to get the variable by itself. So in order to do that, I have to get rid of the minus 5. Well, we're going to use the opposite operation. So instead of subtracting, I'm going to add, and I'm going to use the same number. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. The x will come down, and I'm going to write one extra step in this problem, but I won't do it again, just so that you guys can see what is actually happening. So now you're going to do minus 5 plus 5, which is 0. So I'm going to add 0 equals negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. Now you don't have to have this step, okay, because x plus 0 is just x, and that's going to equal negative 2. And that'll give us our answer. Okay, so what's happening here is the negative 5 and the plus 5, they're canceling each other out and just making it 0. But whatever we do to one side, we must also do to the other, which is why I have to add 5 on the right. We go to example number 2 now. Now you run into an example where there are more than one step in order to solve it. We have multiplication here, we have addition here. Okay, so just like the example I gave earlier where I told you have to do it backwards. So I'm going to get rid of the addition first, then the multiplication. So we're going to start by getting rid of addition by subtracting, and we're going to subtract 4 to both sides. You're going to get 3x equals 9. Now I'm going to divide by 3, and I get x equals 3. Again, 3 divided by 3 is 1, but 1 times x is just x, so I don't need to show the 1x. And our answer would be x equals 3. The last example is actually a shorter one, but it's one that students often struggle with. When you see a problem like this, okay, you have t divided by 7 equals negative 9. We're going to go through the same steps. So I want to get rid of the division dividing by 7. In order to do that, I have to use the opposite operation, which is multiplication, and I want to multiply by 7. So now my 7, just like back here in this one where we had 3x over 3, and we said 3 divided by 3 was 1x, here you have 7t over 7. The 7's will cancel out and give you just t equals, and we're going to multiply by 7 over here, and negative 9 times 7 is negative 63. And that will give us our answer for example number 3. I do understand this was a short lesson. I wanted to touch on some of the basics for solving equations because starting, even this last week, you've seen how we had to solve some basic equations to fill in our tables. This is very basic, and starting in 2 weeks, the week that I'm gone, your lessons are actually going to be a lot more detail-oriented as far as for solving equations. We're going to have to learn the properties for solving equations, the different mathematical properties that apply, and how to use them, and what they are, and what they mean. And you guys are going to be required to tell me sometimes, okay, on this step we use this property. I'm going to be requiring you guys to do some of that stuff. The other real quick reminder is that you need to be constantly reviewing your definitions, because probably Tuesday you can expect to see a vocab quiz from your vocab, and I probably will also put one T-chart where you have to fill it in and come up with the equation for the T-chart. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I plan on going actually to the fair tonight, and I might actually be going to the fair again tomorrow as well. But I'm hoping that starting Monday this next week that these lessons are going to be up. Hopefully during school I can actually get them posted and not have to post them after school at 5 or 6 o'clock. So I'm hoping this is going to be one of the last times you'll ever have to wait for me to text you and tell you that the lesson is up online for you to watch it. So again, have a great weekend and come to class prepared on Monday with any questions and ready to work.